Welcome to the House of Wisdom. Here, you can enjoy the essence of great books and learn valuable lessons without spending hours reading. Whether you're driving, training, or multitasking, the House of Wisdom brings engaging audiobook summaries right to you. Sit back, relax, and let us share the wisdom of books in a way that fits perfectly into your busy lifestyle. Have you ever wondered why you keep falling into the same habits, even when you know they're bad for you? Or why some people seem to easily break free from their harmful routines and transform their lives? What if I told you there's a science behind it, a simple formula that, once understood, can help you change your life? In The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, you'll discover how habits influence every aspect of our lives, our health, productivity, and even our success. From real-life stories of people like Lisa Allen, who broke free from years of addiction, to groundbreaking research on how our brains store habits, this book reveals the secrets to harnessing the power of habit for positive change. Join me as we explore these stories, the science behind habits, and practical techniques you can use to change your routines and unlock your potential for success. Whether you want to break a bad habit or build new, powerful routines, this summary will guide you on how to do it. Let's dive into how habits work, and by the end, you'll be ready to take the first step toward transforming your life. Are you ready to change your habits? Let's get started. Chapter 1. The Habit Cure. Lisa Allen, 34, had struggled with addictions to alcohol and cigarettes since she was 16. Along with these challenges, she also dealt with lifelong issues regarding her weight, which constantly troubled her. To make matters worse, she was buried in more than $10,000 of debt, and she couldn't seem to hold onto a job for more than a year. But today, the woman sitting before the researchers was completely different. This version of Lisa was slim, fit, and radiated happiness. Her legs were toned like those of a runner, and comparing her current self to old photos, she looked at least 10 years younger. Lisa was now debt-free, had quit both drinking and smoking, and had held a job at a graphic design firm for the past 3 years. When asked, "When did you last smoke a cigarette?" Lisa replied, "It's been about 4 years. I lost 60 pounds and completed a marathon since then. I'm also pursuing a master's degree, and I've bought my own house." Lisa's life was filled with positive changes, and they kept coming. For the past 3 years, psychologists, neurologists, and other experts had been studying Lisa, along with 23 other participants who shared similar stories. Some were alcoholics, others were chain smokers, some struggled with obesity, and a few were addicted to shopping. This research was funded by the National Institute of Health, and there was one thing common among all the participants: they managed to break free from their bad habits in a very short amount of time. The experts were determined to uncover the secret behind this. The researchers installed cameras in the participants' homes to monitor their daily routines, and each participant underwent MRI brain scans. Since they all had addictions, whether to cigarettes, alcohol, or food, the goal was to study the brain's response. "I know you've shared this story before, but could you tell us again how you managed to quit smoking?" one researcher asked. And so, Lisa began to tell her story once more. A few months before her transformation, Lisa had gone on vacation to Cairo, Egypt. Her husband came home one day and announced that he wanted a divorce because he had fallen in love with someone else. Lisa was completely devastated. The reality was hard to accept, but her husband had found another woman and no longer wanted to stay with Lisa. In an attempt to drown her sorrow, Lisa turned to alcohol and cigarettes. But even these could not numb her pain. Lisa became obsessed with following her husband and his new girlfriend wherever they went. She'd call his girlfriend in the middle of the night and hang up. One night, in a drunken state, Lisa showed up at the girlfriend's house and created a scene. She yelled, banged on the door, hurled insults, and even threatened to burn the house down. It was the worst day of her life. She had never felt so miserable and alone. Then, out of nowhere, she remembered that she had always wanted to see the pyramids in Egypt. With some credit still left on her card, she decided to go. On her first morning in Cairo, Lisa woke up to the sound of the call to prayer from a nearby mosque. Her hotel room was pitch black, and she had a terrible headache from jet lag. Craving a cigarette, she lit one in the dark, but instead of the familiar smell of tobacco, she got the stench of burning plastic. What she thought was a Marlboro cigarette turned out to be a pen. Frustrated, Lisa felt completely defeated. For the past several months, she had been angry, upset, and lost. She felt ashamed and often overwhelmed by hopelessness. She would cry for hours and binge eat uncontrollably. She didn't have a job, and her weight kept increasing. Her life felt like it was on the verge of collapse. She was so helpless that she couldn't even light a cigarette properly. A few months later, Lisa made a decision. She got out of bed, took a shower, and stepped outside her hotel. She took a taxi to the Sphinx and the pyramids of Giza, surrounded by the vast desert. Lisa made up her mind that she wasn't going to let her life fall apart. She needed a purpose, something that would give her direction. She promised herself that she would return to Egypt the following year and go trekking in the desert, no matter what. Although the idea seemed crazy, she was overweight and didn't have enough money. Lisa accepted the challenge and was willing to do whatever it took to accomplish it. The first step was to quit smoking. Exactly a year later, Lisa and a group of 6 others embarked on a desert trek in Egypt. Lisa fulfilled the promise she had made to herself. From the moment Lisa decided to quit smoking, her life began to change. Over the next 6 months, she took up jogging to fight her smoking habit, and to curb her binge eating, she started following a healthy diet. She ensured she got quality sleep, which improved her productivity. Instead of spending money recklessly, she began saving for the future. Lisa even ran a marathon, went back to school, and bought a new house. The researchers observed that old patterns in Lisa's brain had weakened. Her brain had developed new neural pathways that were strong and connected to her healthier habits. Lisa became a favorite subject for the researchers because her brain scans showed clear signs that, in a way, she had rewired her brain. Chapter 2. How Habits Work. In 1933, a man named Eugene Pauly walked into a laboratory in San Diego. He was over 6 feet tall, elderly, and wearing a blue button-down shirt. His hair was as white as cotton, and he moved slowly, likely due to arthritis. In medical literature, people like him are often referred to as EP. About a year earlier, Eugene had suddenly fallen ill. He began vomiting and experiencing severe abdominal pain. The constant vomiting left him dehydrated, so his wife rushed him to the hospital. At the time, Eugene had a high fever, which also affected his mental state. When a nurse attempted to insert an IV into his arm, Eugene lashed out aggressively, kicking at her. Seeing his condition, the doctor sedated him. While unconscious, the doctor inserted a needle between 2 vertebrae in his spine to extract some fluid and immediately realized what the problem was. Normally, the fluid between the brain and spinal cord is clear and flows smoothly like a silk thread passing through a needle. However, the fluid extracted from Eugene's body was different. It was cloudy and sticky. Tests revealed that Eugene had viral encephalitis, a virus that causes cold sores, mild infections, fever, and blisters. Although this virus is usually harmless, it can become deadly if it reaches the brain. Once in the brain, the virus begins to consume delicate brain tissue, effectively eating away at our thoughts and dreams. In Eugene's case, part of his brain had already been damaged by the virus, and the doctors couldn't repair it. However, they administered large doses of antiviral drugs to stop the virus from spreading further. Eugene spent the next 10 days in a coma, teetering between life and death. Slowly, the medication started working, and his fever subsided. The virus seemed to disappear from his body. When Eugene woke up from the coma, his mental condition was weak, but he was alive, a miracle in itself. The doctors ran additional tests on him. Physically, Eugene was fine. He could move his limbs and respond to light and sound. However, his brain scan showed that the virus had eaten away oval tissue in the center of his brain where the cranium and spinal column once connected. There was now an empty space. The doctor informed Eugene's wife that they needed to prepare for the fact that Eugene would never be the same person again. He said, "I've never seen anyone come back from the brink of death like this. I don't want to give you false hope, but this case is completely unique for us." A few weeks later, Eugene was discharged from the hospital and began rehabilitation. However, he couldn't remember the days, weeks, or months that had passed. No matter how many times the doctors introduced themselves, Eugene couldn't remember their names. Back at home, Eugene couldn't recognize his friends. Sometimes, he would wake up in the morning, go to the kitchen, and start cooking bacon and eggs. Then, he would return to the bedroom and turn on the radio. 40 minutes later, he would repeat the same routine. Get up, cook bacon, and turn on the radio. Eugene became a favorite subject for memory loss specialists. One of these experts was Larry Squire from the University of California, San Diego. Squire had been studying the neuroanatomy of memory for 30 years. He observed that Eugene couldn't retain new information. When shown photos of his grandchildren, he couldn't recognize them. He didn't even remember being sick or that he had been in the hospital. Squire also noticed that Eugene could move easily from one room to another in his house. When asked how he remembered the layout of the house, Eugene couldn't explain. He knew where the kitchen and bathroom were but didn't know how he remembered that information. However, when asked to draw a map of his house, Eugene was unable to do so. Eugene had lost his memory, but he hadn't lost his habits. It was because of these habits that he could move around the house. He even knew his way around the neighborhood. When he went for walks, he could find his way back home, but when asked how he did this, Eugene couldn't explain. Eugene's daily routine looked like this. He would wake up in the morning, step outside the front gate, take a walk around the neighborhood, and return with a small stone. Then, he would sit on the couch and watch the History Channel. This was his daily routine. Though his memory had faded, his habits remained intact. Thanks to these habits, Eugene could wander around the neighborhood and return home with ease. The human brain is like an onion, made up of many layers. The outer layers handle complex thinking processes, but deep inside the brain, near the brainstem, are primitive structures that control automatic behaviors like breathing or swallowing. Whether we remember them or not, these habits never disappear, even if our memory is lost. At the center of the human skull, about the size of a golf ball, lies a tissue called the basal ganglia, which is also found in mammals, fish, and reptiles. This is the place where our habits are stored. Scientists have discovered that we develop habits because the brain is always looking for ways to save energy. It turns any routine into a habit so the brain can focus on more complex tasks. For example, when we walk, tie our shoes, dress, or brush our teeth, we don't have to think too much. Our hands and feet move automatically because these actions have become habits. We do them on autopilot. In essence, our brain chunks these tasks, dividing them into important and unimportant actions. This way, the brain doesn't have to work too hard on habits and can save energy for more difficult tasks, like solving math problems or programming software. Our basal ganglia is fully active when we're brushing our teeth or tying our shoes. Thanks to these automatic habits, we are able to make decisions and engage in higher-level thinking. Chapter 3. The Habit Loop. The habit loop is a simple pattern that works in a cycle. Cue, routine, reward. The key to creating a habit is repeating this loop enough times until the behavior becomes automatic. The cue is the trigger that initiates the behavior, the routine is the behavior itself, and the reward is the positive reinforcement that ensures the behavior is repeated. In 1990, MIT scientists conducted an experiment on rats to observe the role of habits in the brain. The experiment showed that rats with damaged basal ganglia, a brain region that controls habits, struggled with tasks like navigating mazes or opening food containers. The scientists monitored the rats' brain activity as they performed these tasks, using sensors to track the basal ganglia's activity. The rats were placed in a T-shaped maze, and their goal was to find chocolate at the end. At first, they wandered aimlessly, sniffing the air and scratching the walls. Over time, as they repeated the task, their behavior became more focused and automatic. They began going directly to the chocolate without hesitation. The basal ganglia activity decreased because the behavior became a routine that no longer required conscious thought. The cue was the click sound signaling the start of the experiment, the routine was navigating the maze, and the reward was the chocolate. This experiment proved that habits are stored in the brain, particularly in the basal ganglia, so that the brain can save energy for more important tasks. As habits become ingrained, they require less mental effort, allowing the brain to conserve energy for other activities. Chapter 4. The habit of success. Our bad habits tend to linger because they are triggered by specific cues, and once activated, we revert to the same routines. The key to breaking this cycle is to replace the bad habit with a good one. To achieve this effectively, the cue and the reward should remain the same, but the routine must change. For example, if you have the habit of spending excessive time on the internet and social media, it might reduce your productivity and leave little time for beneficial activities like jogging or exercising. If you tend to stay up late scrolling on your phone, you may end up waking up late the next day. However, you can alter this routine. First, identify the cue. For instance, when you return home from work, instead of lying down and grabbing your phone, put on your running shoes and go for a jog. This becomes your new routine. After an hour of jogging, reward yourself with a refreshing strawberry smoothie. By repeating this new loop, cue, routine, and reward, you can establish a new habit. The cue, coming home, stays the same, the new routine, jogging, replaces the old one, and the reward, strawberry smoothie, remains consistent. This habit loop can help you replace any negative habit. Just remember the pattern: cue, routine, reward. To break a bad habit, you only need to change the routine while keeping the same cue and reward. Now, let's learn from the next story. Travis Leach grew up in a challenging environment. Both of his parents were drug addicts, and every day he would come home to find them slumped in front of the TV, high on drugs. His mother's arrest for drug use and prostitution when he was 9, coupled with witnessing his father overdose on heroin, created an extremely difficult childhood. His father's overdose was a traumatic moment. Travis and his siblings knew exactly how to handle such situations. Travis's brother tried to prop up their father's body, while his sister attempted to prevent him from choking by keeping his mouth open, as Travis rushed next door to call for help. By 16, Travis had dropped out of high school due to relentless bullying. His classmates mocked him, followed him, and threw things at him. Leaving school and his hometown felt like his only option. He moved to Fresno, where he worked at McDonald's and Hollywood Video. At work, Travis often faced rude customers, and once, when a customer yelled at him for ranch dressing, he lost his temper, yelling back and even throwing chicken nuggets at the customer's car. His anger sometimes caused him to break down in tears mid-shift. Travis often arrived late to work and missed shifts. At home, he would stand in front of the mirror, trying to give himself motivational speeches to act better, but deep down, he felt he was struggling to fit in socially. His anxiety grew, especially when his line at the register grew longer, which often led to scolding from his manager. During these times, Travis would shake with anxiety, feeling breathless. One day, a regular customer at Hollywood Video struck up a conversation with Travis and suggested he apply for a job at Starbucks. The customer, an assistant manager at a new Starbucks branch, offered to help Travis apply. Within a month, Travis had a morning shift as a barista. That was 6 years ago. Today, at 25, Travis manages 2 Starbucks locations, supervises a team of 40, and generates $2 million in annual revenue. He earns a salary of $44,000 and has fully mastered his emotions, no longer losing his temper at work. Once, when a customer yelled at one of his employees, Travis calmly pulled the employee aside and said, "Your apron is like a shield. You're strong as long as you're behind it." How did Travis make such a remarkable transformation? It all started with Starbucks' training program. On his first day as a barista, Travis attended a special training session. The program was structured to allow employees to earn college credits, and it had a profound impact on Travis's life. It taught him how to focus on his job, live a better life, and manage his emotions. Travis credits Starbucks as the turning point in his life, saying, "I'll be grateful to this company for the rest of my life." Starbucks understood that providing excellent customer service required willpower and self-discipline. This is why the company invests millions in training its employees, helping them cultivate positive habits. Starbucks offers manuals and workbooks that provide instructions on how to handle difficult situations, such as dealing with upset customers. For instance, if a customer receives the wrong drink, employees are taught to follow the latte method. Listen to the customer, acknowledge the complaint, take action to correct the mistake, thank the customer, and explain the cause of the error. By investing in employee training and helping them develop self-discipline and good habits, Starbucks has discovered the secret to its success. The strong habits of its employees contribute to exceptional customer service, which is why Starbucks is more than just a coffee shop, it's an experience. Conclusion. You've just heard the inspiring stories of Lisa Allen's remarkable transformation as she broke free from harmful addictions, Eugene Pauly's journey of navigating life despite losing his memory with the help of his habits, and Travis Leach's turnaround, fueled by the power of good habits and the guidance from Starbucks. These stories highlight a fundamental truth. Habits shape our lives in ways we often fail to recognize. The best part? You have the power to change your habits. Whether it's replacing a bad habit with a good one or developing new routines that guide you toward success, the key is understanding the habit loop. Cue, routine, and reward. So, what's holding you back from starting today? Consider the habits you'd like to change. They don't have to be monumental. Small, consistent changes can lead to significant transformations over time. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the power of habit. If this summary has inspired you to take control of your habits and enhance your life, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, The House of Wisdom, for more life-changing insights. Together, we can harness the power of habits to create a better future. Until next time, keep moving forward, one habit at a time.